Big clan versus Faze clan. The clan war is coming back to us, and it's a revenge match. Can Faze bring it home, or will Big be able to strike back?
Yeah, Big will start on that CT side for the pistol. For the half, rather, of course. Pistol now underway. Tizian has the only set of utility, and Faze are setting up for what looks to be a B execute. Couple of smokes primed and ready. That's Brokey and Nico to wield those. Rain creeping forward, and he's spotted.
Well, Rain's going in, leading the charge, and he's found Xantares. Xantares is flashed, but Rain's missing the shots. Kirby will take him down, but Tizian's still alive on the site, temporarily at least. Brokey will eliminate him, and with this, it's already a guaranteed retake attempt if Big want to go for it. Now, I say if, because Big is one of the few teams who actually, I think, play out this rounds correctly, where they don't necessarily commit their armor, and they are fine with saving it moving forward. Sursun's got $800 anyway, but he wants to go for this regardless. He's got nothing to lose. He can actually get some kills, get some extra money, and Tabson's been tagged up. Sursun to fall, Keto to get one, and Keto to go for more. However, Brokey with 3 kills to start things off. I talked him up a little bit, and he never fails to deliver.
Yeah, good pistol round there from Faze. Big didn't bring in a kit either, so they were bleeding time, so that's why you see them commit somewhat late into the retake, hoping that Faze may overstep in their post plants, but they do no such thing. They find the kills instead as Big approach. Get to see Searson on the scout very early on.
Ooh. I like this. 4 players near B early on. Faze clan as well. See, this is exactly what I was talking about. They really like to stall over inside mid. Now, admittedly, this time Kirby doesn't have a flashbang in his hand because he knows that there will be players on Deagle rounds. But Sursun's being destroyed. Tabson, sure, you got 1, but let's be honest, Brokey had a little bit more style in his step and a little bit more swagger in his hips as he moved in. Now, it's all down to Tizian and Xantares. Xantares to fall, coldzera to eliminate.
Yeah, that was a crucial duel. If Xantares had won that one, it makes it a bit more awkward for Faze when they get this bomb planted at B. Because in spite of that early stack and the heavy presence from Big towards that B bomb site, they rotated away, and Faze found that niche little pathway to get themselves established on the site. So Tabson, just with a Galil, Keto with no real rifle. I'll hope to save the armor and whatever they've got in their hands into the follow-up round. Faze looking good so far. A clean pistol. Second round, not too many casualties. Feeling good about this one.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm feeling good about the fact that Brokey's already started off hot, because when this guy is killing it, he is killing it. And the problem for Big is Brokey actually, I don't rate Brokey's CT side opening very highly on this map. So although Big start off on the CT side and they're thinking, yeah, we've got the CT side, this is great. A lot of the reason why the CT side is fantastic is because of the advantage it has against the T side AWPer, if there is even going to be one. Faze clan, I don't think that applies to them. Brokey has some of the best T-side opening I've seen in a very long time on Mirage. So if he's coming off with a hot hand, well, you know what they say about hot hands, they hurt a whole lot. That is what they say, right?
Yeah, I don't remember where you're reading that one from, but I'll trust it.
I mean, yeah, it's a hot hand. That's what you assume. Nico, in the meanwhile, will end up losing out the AK.
Yeah, so that's dropped towards top middle. So a 4-on-4. They do concede the site all the meanwhile. Faze punching that one in. Well, and Xantares isn't going to get away with it. Here's a step. Brokey's like, wait a second. Someone's just above me. Does deliver the Galil to Keto so he can keep that nice and safe. Ooh, Searson. Awkward.
Very. And Searson is, you know, getting into territory where you start to wonder, is this guy going to come back to the heights that he was at before? Especially because now that we go further and further into the online era, you start to realize that a lot of these players who were old school, who haven't really been able to transition forward the same way, like even, for example, all of the players in Faze clan who have traditionally considered themselves LAN players, they start to realize more and more that, hey, this is what this game is now. We have to play online. We have to play at our best. And the parity between teams starts to go back to what you would consider the norm. So Faze clan, their recent resurgence in form included, they've been just climbing and climbing. And the question right now is, can Big stop them before they reach the top?
The double AWP, Searson and Palace, coldzera down early. So that AWP spotted out, but they're going to fall victim to it nonetheless. They'd actually positioned both of the AWPs over towards A to start off this round. Keto was holding the connector while he went for that peek, and now FaZe have to work a man down. This does throw a bit of a wrench in the works. Does position themselves more towards that B side, where Brokey had gone for a pick early with his own AWP.
So much utility on the Big side, though. This is the big old benefit that you have of having double ops and the early advantage. You don't need to throw your smokes early. You don't need to throw your nades early. But will they throw their nades on time? Kirby, flashbang goes in. Molly's there as well. Searson to find the kill. Goes in for the second, and he's connected. While Xantares makes short work of Nico. Searson jumps up, scouts out Brokey's position, and Brokey's position has been compromised. Beautiful round from Searson himself. The secondary repeat thought it might get a bit dicey, but with Xantares' support from short, he was perfectly safe.
From nothing to 3. You call him into question, and he delivers on some really high-impact kills. The opening duel there from Cold, and then locking things down towards the B side as FaZe attempted the take. Of course, that was treated as a minor bonus. Of course, they only had Kjerby on the MAC-10. Searson gonna miss the jump through top mid. Instead, he takes up a nice little nook and cranny towards lower underpass. This is something that FaZe won't really clear out, and he catches Rain as a result.
This is something that FaZe also very often is susceptible to. The player inside underpass, unless it's checked by Kjerby early on, does occasionally go unchecked. We saw this against OG as well. Actually, Valde was able to exploit this position pretty well as Alexi B at times. So it's definitely a bit of an issue. And Searson, now he is trapped in between a rock and a hard place, but Tapson's coming over to give him some assistance. Tizian's also taking down Kjerby, so Searson knows that if he wants to back off, then the entrance to the B apartments are open, but so is Nico's Skull. Tabson to crack that one in, and it'll be a 2v5. FaZe clan not looking too hot, although coldzera will find one and looks for more. Can he connect? Yes, he can. Okay, coldzera.
He spammed him straight through the wood. Didn't even have to take the fight for the opening kill. Brokey moved in with the AWP, looking to reinforce, but there's a flank approaching. Searson is hot on their tails with the AWP, so it's all about buying time. The nade touchdown at that for coldzera, and Brokey, he's on a timer. He has to find these kills. Oh, they're jumping over shots. Tizian, with a little bit of a hop in his step, is able to take him down. So Big, they get 2 together, and they do it in a fashion where they get that man advantage early once again.
Yes. That's the big point, which is that FaZe clan generally do not play a fast game. This is what I was talking about, that your mid play is significantly more exploitable if you're waiting before you get aggressive heavily. Also, FaZe doesn't like to go for fast-paced executes. They don't like to change things up a lot. This is a classic individually powered team which wants to have the most possible time to make short work of the CTs. That's how they win these games. They're able to give their star players a lot of time where they can maneuver around, use their incredible game sense, but sometimes it does work out against you. However, it's still early days, and I'm not counting FaZe out yet, even if I did predict Big the second time over.
Well, given that it's just Glocks, we'll try the cutesy play. Run boost through middle. Searson still finds a victim. Repositions top connector as well. They're not going to quite rush him down like they would have liked to.
Who repeaks that?
Yeah, I mean, he just gets 3. They're fighting mid, so I mean, it's not terrible.
I know, but it's just... this is you gotta love Searson when he's feeling confident, and he's definitely come into it with the right mindset.
Yeah, it went from 0-0-3 to now 7-3. He's tied up for the top of the server alongside Brokey. We did get the ball rolling nice and early. Some standard nades thrown in from FaZe just to keep Big at bay. Of course, they're going for a 1-3-1, so they're putting a bit more emphasis on middle control, something that FaZe typically avoid, but it's not Searson this time. It's Keto. That's secondary AWP coming into action, and he's made sure that middle is no longer a concern for Big.
Well, Middle might not be a concern, but the A side definitely should be with how many players are over in Palace, although rotations seem to be coming in. Tizian's waiting for Nico, and Nico's always the mobile one, always the one who decides the pace of the game, and why wouldn't he be the kind of player that he is? Tizian's revealed his position already. Good damage, and Nico's forced to fire back, and in doing so shows exactly where he's positioned. Tizian hiding underneath the balcony while Brokey's peeking outwards, gets the flick as well. Tabson had such a convenient little off angle, but Tizian's the one to bring it still in their favor. CT side now starting to congregate around A.
Yeah, Nico kept them distracted, so the rotations are a little bit late here for Big, but Faze aren't really scaling to the bomb site that effectively. Brokey, he doesn't clear the close cubby. Keto, he may have just caught the tail end of him, so they'll know that there's somebody in towards jungle, but now Searson and Keto strike true. Rain, 1-on-4, trapped within the site. He does find a bit of space to reposition, and Keto was unaware. Isolated duel, Rain now with it all to do, and they're giving him the one-on-ones. This is getting scary. Rain can certainly win these, and he brings it close, but Tizian puts an end to it. That's a 4th round for Big, but that is a scary way to play the retake. You don't want to give Rain those chances.
No, you do not. Rain, after he got the second kill, I was convinced he's going to take it away. I mean, look at how clean it'll be. Brokey, beautiful shot from him. I'm sure we'll see the replay of Rain's kills as well. The 3rd kill is what works out against him. He's even firing at the right spot as well. It's just that Tizian crouches down at that point. It's so incredibly heartbreaking if you're Rain. The last player was even isolated, so you would have been able to take him down. Yeah. Faze Clan, though. I know this play. I know this play. We call this a good old Tech 9B back in my days.
Yeah, nice little B popper lined up. Here come the flashes, and Tars to counter with his own, but they're going to be heavily pressured on the bomb site. Garby finds the first. Tizian using the smoke as a bit of sanctuary, but there's the flash. Right through it they'll go, and they actually blind themselves up, but Cold's able to trade things out. So Faze crack into the bomb site. It's the rush play with the Tech 9s. It's a little old school, but they'll happily make it a part of their playbook. And Tabson, all that remains. Kirby, the recovered. Why not finish the job? An equalizing round for Faze in an unorthodox fashion for what I would consider to be how I would expect Faze to win these rounds on the T side.
Absolutely massive stuff coming out from Faze over there. The Tech 9 rounds generally... So I think Big actually had a misread over the economy of Faze, to be honest. I think Big might have been expecting a full buy because Xantares, the flash that he's holding, is not very effective against a full rush unless you're very, very wary of it coming out early, for which you need a player on short to actually be able to hear it. So the Xantares flash not able to get enough done, and Searson, who's trying to aggress forward, will be given a chance to retreat, but Tabson, you know, he was starting to sweat over in middle. He thought he'd be alone there in just a bit.
Yeah, some of the steps from Big on the CT side, praising them for taking control away, but almost getting caught out in awkward positions because of it. Good little gap in the smoke for Searson to work off of. They're going to go for the run boost once again. Do they show to connector this time round? Searson will give up the angle, so not going to spot that on the cross.
Searson still getting aggressive. Is a flashbang, which is perfect, but he's still responded upon by Kirby. Now Tabson from ladder room needs to make quick work of Faze Clan, and if they don't expect this, it would be highly ironic considering how often coldzera goes ham from there. Keto, playing from CT, doesn't dare peek inside connector as Nico's Molotov comes out. He mollied too far forward. Tabson's inside the ladder room, and he can actually come in and give some support, but Brokey's expecting it, and Keto will fall alongside. Now at 2 versus 4, and Tizian and Xantares are bound to save. Xantares too far away, and he is caught in between a very difficult spot. Brokey sees the shadow, and he misses the shot, though. Xantares gets another opportunity as Brokey has yet another miss. Tizian's now fighting back. He's got 2 kills. Bomb still ticking away, and coldzera is suddenly in a disastrous 1v2. coldzera is wondering where it all went wrong, and with a Molotov picked up, Xantares mollies out Firebox, will be peeking forward soon enough. coldzera from Palace is waiting for him. He does get the swing, he does get the kill, but can he get the round win? The fuse is being stuck, and he's seen it. coldzera doesn't expect it. coldzera doesn't expect it. Big, they can take it away. Oh, the 2 versus 4.
I cannot
How?
believe Faze let that slip. They deep push CT, but they don't clear Tizian's angle. That makes all the difference. Those missed shots from Brokey as well. Uncharacteristic for him to miss in some open opportunities. I thought he got the drop, the shadow play. He makes sure that he has the information to work off of, but this is where it all went wrong. Tizian just lining them up spawn because they don't clear the angle, and then Cold has to play a game of chicken because of the fact that he's so low HP. Ridiculous stuff.
Oh, that is pure insanity, but that insanity will continue. Tabson and company trading away, and Rain plus Nico are not really ready for this day. They have a total of 23 HP across the 2 of them. A single nade would be their end, and Xantares might be the one to throw it, as he does take the scaffolding and leads onwards and outwards, and in the face line he goes. 6-4, big, despite giving up the early 0-3 lead and a Tech 9 round in the middle of it. Off the back of the 2v4, they are very much taking control.
Yeah, trying to get something going from Ramp. A faster play from Faze that doesn't work out. Really solid work there from Xantares, just isolating those duels as well, going so far as to even peek deep Ramp.
I still can't believe they won that 2v4. That's insane.
Yeah, it is a bit of a pace changer, that is for sure. Faze will have wanted to take that round and continue to snowball this T-side half, but it's reinvigorated big. Mistakes certainly being made by the Faze clan. Of course, we see another buy come through. Of course, it has to be without Brokey on the AWP. And Tizian's already fully cleared the B-bomb site. He's made sure that the apartments are no longer a concern. And so they can start to move these players over, reinforce A.
They've completely prepared themselves for the A collapse. SkullNerd as well, finding the first kill. Tizian's going for a very long flank, but by the time he comes over, it might be too little too late. Tabson and company need to stand tall and defend their site. Tabson will be double swung soon enough. Rain will go down. Nico to trade, but Tizian and Sersen are still backing up. Xantares also to now come in. Brokey left alone, and as he turns to find the flanking player, who will instead be finished off. FaZe Clan were in great positions. They even had the numbers advantage to be able to collapse onto the A-bomb site, but then afterwards, just giving up the free kills. They're so focused on the CT that when Tabson gets the initial kill, that they're not entirely ready for Sersen and Tizian to come in, and then obviously Xantares from jungle.
And this is where, if this round goes askew in a fashion that isn't close for FaZe, you'd expect to see a timeout. Just make sure they get their first gun, the next gun round in a nice fashion, but Tabson just locks things over towards middle. Solid flash lined up by Keto to enable that play. Of course, it is just the anti-half buy, so nothing too crazy. But of course, we saw FaZe win a round like this before with their collapse on B. This time, middle control is a bit harder to garner.
Brokey could still get some damage in, and that's really important for them to maybe start bringing things back. But Brokey, he's missed his shots. Sersen will also finish off SkullNerd, a single casualty, and that is a perfect round, or at least as close to it as you can expect on a map like Mirage. Big timeout comes out from FaZe Clan. YNK would like to have a word with them, I'm sure. And Brokey, as hot as he started, he was 7-3. Now he's 10-8. He's gone 2-5 in the past few rounds, and you might start to see that being an issue. The rest of FaZe as well, not really performing the same way. Nico's sitting on 4-11. Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, the timeout we expect here from FaZe now elapsed. Where do they position? You could see the argument to be made if Brokey had a better spawn to maybe go for a pick towards B. Something that they have looked to accommodate in the past, with KRB sort of jumping over on the cross to make sure that he can get a good angle. KRB willing to take some damage, even give his life up for such a peak, but instead they focus on middle once again. This is where Big have put a bit of more emphasis in the last few rounds. This time Rain will get closer than they may have anticipated. No one top connector to challenge initially. Searson trying to play around the corner of the smoke. He has this minor gap to work with, but it only allows him to see there's somebody up close.
And they've continually been going for this late presence into ladder as a way to counter out Faze's default play. Searson, though, as he peek into connector, we've seen so many times that Faze's A hit is hinged entirely around connector. This time, though, and it all comes down to Searson and Taps and whether they can disrupt or not. Brokey's moving forward. He'll be watching their back. Searson's going to peek through soon, but Rain's leading the charge. Goes in, sees a player in sandwich, but Xantares has found one in the meanwhile. Rain, not to frag so far. Tabson's crept in. He's got two, and Searson will steal his kill away for the third, leaving coldzera once again in a 1 versus 2. He's great in clutches, historically always has been, but with 40 seconds, no bomb and no utility, this will be a difficult ask. Cold peeks forward, nice little jump in, and he's firing away, lines them up, but can't do it all. Searson has to pull out the deagle, but he gets around nonetheless. 9-4, Big Clan are getting the CT side they needed.
Yeah, there was actually 3 left alive, that it was a little bit worse than you'd even made it out to be because of this play from Tabson and Searson. Difficult approach when they're getting shot in the back from connector. The last thing they expected. Faze have lost that stride to their step. Big feel like they're dictating the pace so much so on the CT side now. Look at Xantares, man. He's just giving it towards top middle. Nico gets caught by the flash and then gunned and run down. Good response, though, from Rain. They get their hands on a rifle and can make their way into the site, but Searson does stop and punish the aggression from Rain. Maybe overstepping here on the side of Faze Clan. Still yet to get that bomb planted, and before they even get that into a reasonable position, he gets naded, so Kirby's left alone, and he's gone too. So 1 kill is all that will be a parting gift for him, but Faze have been contained at 4. Meanwhile, Big, double digits.
And listen, Michael, I don't like to toot my own horn, but I like to toot my own horn. This is Big just completely exploiting Faze Clan and their way of taking mid. It's not how I thought they would, the way OG did it, but what they're doing is they're prioritizing, they're accepting that Faze almost always goes for an A pincer through connector. If you have 3 players in a connector every time, well, we'll figure out how to deal with that.
Oh,
and that's exactly what's happening.
Underpass push.
Well, it's the first time we've seen this so far. Question is, can they find anyone as Rain will fall to Xantares? Xantares peeks out again. Nico wasn't even flashed. Xantares is just putting on a show. And Searson's been showed up by Brokey. 3 versus 4. Faze Clan have made it doable, but it all comes down to whether or not they can get past Tizian, who's been a thorn in their side before as well. And coldzera, he's not one to be stepped past.
Yeah, in spite of that information that Brokey was rotating towards B, they didn't cheat rotations back for the CT side. They relied on Tizian. Let's come to equal numbers. Brokey through the smoke. That is crucial. Xantares is gone. Tabson able to eliminate his teammate in Cold, but Brokey shotguns the AWP. That's how Faze will get their 5th round. It's a bursting play towards B. Sharp entry from Cold, and they seal it in from there. Crucial shots there from Brokey.
And with that, we're going to go to a short break. When we're back, it'll be more of this fantastic action. Stay tuned and don't go anywhere. And so far been upsetting to Faze fans, and I'm not gonna lie, I have been highly impressed by everything they brought to the table. Faze Clan yet to do the same, and Tabson has started off by, giving Faze a chance to impress. Rain to take down his head, Rain to take down another will be brought down at the end of the day, but excellent advantage gain for the CT side.
Oh, Tizian's boost towards window does get spotted out eventually. Not able to find a frag. Oh, okay. It's a passing kill there from Nico, and he's looking to fast flank. Gerby, present of the fact that that's a possibility, and still he's still contained, and Tizian still battling things out. He's keeping them busy. Gerby, of course, is that kit holder, so if he'd gone down, that would have made things a lot more interesting here for Faze. But Keto, under balcony, first point of contact, first port of call here for Big, and able to get the kills he needs to, even finding the last one through the smoke as well. That's just a parting gift. He's really just fighting the initial battle, wins it, couple shots through, and it just happens to be a connection.
Yeah, and this is something that actually, interestingly enough, Launder has talked about in his recent analysis of Faze over on his Coach Slam video. Shout out to Launder, it's great videos. He talked about how Faze on the CT side will very often leave space next to CT murder hole. And, I mean, in pistol, it's much more acceptable, but he said that he's surprised that more teams don't exploit that, and that's exactly what Tizian's able to do to provide them the space despite losing the early advantage. Tizian now, though, does bring down Kirby. Colzera does the same to Keto. So still a 4 versus 4. Faze Clan have shown us some... Oh no, Brokey, never mind what I'm saying. Brokey just takes down Tizian. And with Tabson tagged up, this is suddenly very dangerous.
Yeah, the force buy round may see success here for Faze. They hold the numbers advantage. They know exactly where Big are positioned as well. Given all that presence through middle. Oh, if Nico had connected that one, that would have been the undoing of Tabson. Playing a dangerous game.
Even that smoke is a bit of a dangerous one. You never know when a flashbang just pops in through and Nico takes control. The smoke that deep in, that's just begging to be pushed through. And Ryan's got that flashbang, so we'll have to wait to find out. Nico, however, he is patient and it pays off. Comes in with a quick beagle. And that's a big deagle, a quick little deagle kill. And I'm going to stick to it. Colzera does the same for Tabson, and now Serson with 19 HP. Very little he can really do at this point. And yes, I know it's also dog breed, Michael, but it's okay. We're sticking to it. We're taking the breed away and calling it a beagle.
I was gonna say, you had me at beagle, you know? You put the vision in my mind of Nico attacking someone with a dog in his hands.
Sick 'em, Tiger.
Yeah. Beagles, they're cute, you know? I think he's just killed them with cuteness. And that's a cute little round for Faze to get on their CT side. You know, losing the pistol, they wanted to win that one, obviously, but instead they win the secondary round as well. This is where we talked a lot about the economy when the initial changes went out. Winning the first round and then losing the follow-up is probably the worst place you can be. And so, Big may have dropped the ball on that one. You can see a good start here from Faze against the force buy right back from Big. Not getting the same level of success to start things off, but Nico, again, we're seeing some tempted fates in these rounds against the Deagles. You don't want to be giving them open opportunities like that.
Especially not Xantares, as Tizian will fall. Faze has done a fantastic job of keeping their players live, and Nico will maintain that trend that is now formed. Keto likely to go down soon, although he does spot out the head of Kirby. Kirby will just back off and play from a slightly more defensible position. I do actually quite like how they've also changed certain things up between Kirby and Colzera, between ESL Pro League and IEM New York. It's much more often that Colzera will play the point of first contact in gun versus gun rounds by going onto balcony, and Kirby will actually be the one to play second contact, though. It's interesting to see the dynamic changing more and more as we go on. We've even started to see some positions where Kirby goes into short, and that's a position that's generally been reserved purely for Colzera whenever he wants it. So yeah, just some interesting stuff coming out recently from the Faze camp.
Well, just Glocks for Big in this round. And I hope we get to see more of that in terms of the development of KRB with this squad, because that is certainly where the most development feels like it's gone here for FaZe, implementing and situating that player as best they can. Shouldn't be any surprises in this round. Nade there from Nico. Okay, so I guess that's a minor surprise. I thought he was going to get the kill with the deagle, but ultimately a clean sheet for FaZe in the anti-eco.
Well, that's 2 rounds in a row now where you've got all 5 players kept alive. You can see that also reflected in the CT side economy. It's not even just all players kept alive in that round. They actually keep most of their utility as well. So things get dicey.
Looking good.
Yes, especially when you consider that Big is now on a half buy. So potentially now you're looking at 3 rounds in a row where your money's actually increased from the CT side. And going into a second half, that is the perfect position to be in. Kirby, he just has to be careful that he doesn't go down. He knows there's a player on the side, but he's leaving that up to Brokey. Okay, Brokey. All right. Goes for a nice little attempt through the smoke, but it is now 3 rounds in a row without a single death. And Michael, there's a reason why I think you should always go for the CT side, no matter what map it is in the first half. And that's because you want to maximize your buy rounds. Because on the CT side in the second half, you're likelier to get fewer buy rounds than if you're on the T side, if you're losing the game. Mm-hmm. When you start off with 3 rounds like this, where you've got not a single player lost, that's no longer a question. This is the perfect CT side setup for FaZe Clan.
I'd like to highlight that in that round, they almost make that work because of the position from KRB. They actually forced rotations towards B. If Rain, I think Rain got a triple spray down as they emerged Palace. So if he wasn't having a good performance, if his spray was slightly misaligned, that could have been at least a bomb plant for Big to bring into this round. Of course, that's all done and dusted. We get the AWP out on Searson. We've had some tag damage received here for Big, so the control that they have established is not without its minor caveats. And expect to see Rain up close and personal on ramp very frequently within this half. You can see just how far he's willing to commit through this. Sometimes he'll double push alongside Nico, but this is really a prime spot you want Rain to be in because he can really choose to stack the B bomb site late into rounds if they're struggling for information.
And they have to expect the Cool's arrows over here inside ladder room, but Cool's already repositioned on top of the brick, so he will not be heard, he will not be detected, and he has now given over incorrect information, and Cole's error, the second that smoke goes away, finds a kill. Brokey does the same through a smoke, and with it, it's 5v3, and Big Clan are going to be able to respawn, yes, but it still doesn't look pretty. 3 versus 3, there's still players on the A-bomb side, and Rain will be the snake in the woods. Finds himself the immediate kill. Bomb will be recovered. 20 seconds on the clock, and there's not enough time to rotate back in towards the B bomb site. And as the bomb moves forward, Tapson's already lost his life, and Rain just flicks onto Serson's head. Really nice stuff coming out from FaZe Clan. And this is also where you start to see one of the big advantages of how FaZe plays for mid control, which is that they don't theoretically even play for mid control. They just leave Nico playing around mid and connector, and they heavily rely on Cold from short being able to make a play. And Cole's awareness and his presence on the map is just insane, man. Like, the awareness to be able to come down on the bricks, move back, realizing that the Molotov will be finished off by the time the smoke dissipates, and it gives you a position to get a kill as well. That is beautiful stuff from Cold. I can't even fault Big for that, honestly. They did it right. They checked the angle on their part. It's just, Cold just outplayed that.
Yeah. He plays around the minor procedures that Big are throwing. And how much of that is reading into the strategies here for Big when they take mid control? How much of that is just Cold being very prepared for those fights? Either way, it leads to a bit of preparation, whether it's just experience over time or not. And it seems like FaZe will continue this trend on the CT side, yet to be the one that first concedes in rounds like this. So far as Big has been on their T side. They haven't got too much production out of the Deagles, nor any upgraded pistols alongside it. And they play very contained into the bomb sites.
Yeah, Nico even finds Keto over here. The problem for me is that I thought that Big would be able to really, rock Faze's T side from their own CT and then be able to make things work for themselves. Unfortunately, what we're seeing over here is that they've only gotten one T side round so far, and if I'm not wrong, that was a pistol round. So, not a good spot to find yourself in. Now 11-11, FaZe Clan have got all the money in the world, have got all the momentum they need, and they are playing this beautifully on their CT side. I mean, I don't like their setup for most teams, but when you've got Nico playing float around connector and mid window, he just makes that look easy. Combine that with coldzera's presence on B short, you practically don't need mid control at that stage.
We'll see if that timeout works in Big's favor, whether they've orchestrated a plan that gets them some crucial rounds on this T side, because you were right. It's only been the one round on T side thus far. Brokey, that aggression towards underpass immediately punished here for Xantares. So a nice opening start here from them, and they get a second as well. This play, that change that FaZe wanted to bring forward to disrupt Big, has actually worked against them.
And this is where, I've talked about how I really like how FaZe play the CT side for their individual players, but this is also where there is one big issue, which is that your major float player is actually Nico. Your secondary float player is coldzera, and very, very rarely Kirby. So Brokey's spotting is actually much more expected out of an AWPer than you'd want on the CT side. So Brokey is generally not going to go for aggressive peaks anywhere except for in underpass, and very occasionally he'll try to go for the mid trap. Beyond those two, I don't think he consistently goes for any particular peaks or any particular pathing. He generally does actually play from CT and occasionally will help Rain get to A main. But beyond that, I wouldn't say it gets predictable, but the options that you have to look at are much fewer, as Kirby splashed in, gets himself two. The third will evade, but Rain to take down Xantares brings it back to a 2v2, which is very doable.
Yeah, 30 seconds left, and they're gunning it towards B. They recognize that Kirby, typically a B-sided player as well. They found the kill on Cold early in the round, and Nico cannot compensate for that gap. Rain, at the very least, he's coming in from a position they may not fully expect. But what has been uncleared for Big should be the last possible rotation in from Rain. We'll see if he gets the drop on the first, creeping his way forward. They're playing far back angles, and for now, nobody holds a sightline on him. He has a flash, but nothing else. A kit on his belt to get that faster defuse, and now noise being made. Searson looking to get in position. Tizian, that first to face, and Rain has found him. Now it's just Searson up in play, and he has to flank him out. He comes out with the Glock, of all things, to finish off the job. Thought he might commit out through the window, but the market door is where he'll find success, and Big finally break those string of rounds that FaZe orchestrated on their CT side.
FaZe will not be permitted the lead, and that comes off of Kirby having a fantastic spray down and giving them a chance even to take that one away in a 2v2. Unfortunately, Tizian was just too good in that position and reading Nico's intended position, and he makes it work for himself. Now, they still didn't keep too many players alive, and as I say, that Serson's got an aggressive, and by scoping in, he's given away his position. Kirby just sprays through the smoke and the flashbang, gets a quick kill. Brokey, well,
they're shooting
he's
at
starting
each
to lead
other.
the charge. What's going on here? coldzera's not expected. He's got himself 2 kills, and the third. Guys, listen. I know FaZe tumbled over themselves and they gave you a 2v4. You don't have to do the same for them.
Call it
This isn't what we call sportsmanship.
They were shooting at each other in the smoke. Working off of the tags, they merely assumed it had to be a CT. Oh my goodness, what is that from Big? Just a lapse in communication. Not sure what has gone on there. That is one to look back on and purely just... I mean, you may not even want to watch that one back. It's really ugly.
If that's
an
the
equalizing
one you
round for
skip on
FaZe.
the demo viewer.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we know what went wrong in this one. Let's just make sure we shoot the other people instead.
Yeah. Well, with that, I talked about it before. Big didn't have much money left, so Kirby, he'll be able to take down a few of these players. It's a half buy from Big. Fortunately for them, loss bonus is still healthy, but unfortunately, that means they've been losing a lot of rounds. That's how loss bonus works. Big. This is the point where they need a miracle. They need a deagle round. They need a Tech 9 round. Something to help them through. Rain and company. Waiting inside CT spawn. Also just making sure no one can lead over to the kitchens. But with the way things are going, they're not going to be able to force out Rain. Keto's fully flashed as well. Brokey's just holding a very tight angle. Rain comes in and finishes off both players when the bomb is being planted. Takes the 1v1 when he realizes that the second player is definitely not going to be looking at him. And 13-12, FaZe Clan take the lead for what seems to be the first time in, what, 20 rounds? I think they were up 3-0. And after that, you know, after 3-3, they haven't really been in the lead.
Yeah, struggling to maintain leads, at least that much we're certain of. Now they slightly tip the scale. We've had some interesting rounds from both CT sides, or both T sides rather. Couple of write-offs, that is for sure. They'll have heard that tabseN is here. Nico turning to face, but tabseN still finds the frag. So this A bomb site certainly more susceptible. Brokey, the only one that's here, and he's primed with the AWP. A lot of utility being thrown his direction, and Cold creeping past the smoke may find at least one. Tizian, yeah, he changes and adapts in time. How does he get the second? tabseN, that should have been an easy trade, but Cold springs in for an equalizing frag.
And now it's all possible for FaZe Clan to retake this. Moving forward, Cold was completely undetected. He's given them a huge opportunity, and they have to take engagement before Sersen makes his way over. Sersen's got a knife out. Sersen turning around, doesn't matter. Kirby will take him away anyway. Xantares has to step up, sees the AWP, knows their position. But playing from Tetris is so difficult. He needs space. He's been given it, but Brokey's giving him something else too. Keto now fighting back, but can't fight for long enough. It all comes down to Cole's error. It all comes down to the fact that he's able to come up connector. Rain goes down in ladder room, so they expect that no one will be left over towards the mid side. When you eliminate the ladder room player and Nico, you're expecting, oh yeah, Cole's probably not around here. But no, he is. And he gets his second kill, which is huge. The flick, the spray, it's perfect, man. This is vintage Cole's error right there in that round. He's 21-13 right now. Fantastic performance from him.
And it's something that's been changing throughout this half, but it's something we haven't maybe touched on, is that they are rotating positions. We saw in one round, I think Kjerby was helping support a faster play from Brokey in middle. He was one that eventually finds a kill on Sersen, who went for an aggressive peek with the AWP. We've seen as well just coldzera being a bit of a dynamic force as well, leaving Kjerby to his own devices over at B and allowing for faster rotations because of how fast or how quickly he's able to clear out information through mid and then via the connector. So it's hard to keep track of where these players are at any given point here for Big, and the fact that they're changing things up on the CT side can only bode well for them.
Both these teams have exactly a 62.5% win rate on this map. I have a feeling that Biggs might be about to go down, but tabseN doesn't want that. He's all about the percentages, and there is a 100% chance that Nico regrets taking that peek. Now, all down to Rain. Can he find the skill? Tizian has been thwarted by him far too many times, and he's not having any of it this time over. CT is still plenty of money if they want to go for this 3 versus 5, but you're starting to get into territory where if you lose 2 rounds in a row, with all of your players gone, Big could be given a free map point, and that's not what you want. So would really like to see them save at this stage. 14-13, let it come through, not a big deal.
They do have money.
Do they have money to buy up twice, though?
Consistently, yeah, that's the difficulty.
Yeah, to the very last round, that's the issue. Xantares finds Kjerby, and now the hunt is on. Big have to find these kills. If you want to have a solid chance of taking this one away, you have to be willing to throw away 2 weapons. I know you don't have money on the Big side. It makes it very difficult, absolutely. But this is a risk that it seems is necessary to be taken. But they will choose to let them save. And at the end of the day, FaZe Clan will take... Ooh, nice little attempt from coldzera, but FaZe Clan will take the loss in that round. And it all comes off the back of tabseN, who's been doing some really good work so far, Michael.
Yeah, maybe it's they finally cracked the code. Of course, we understand that FaZe typically give up middle control. They've been doing a bit of a better job contesting it throughout the half, but a very big gap, then a solid timing window for tabseN to be able to exploit. You can see Nico now moving towards top connector. Make sure that doesn't happen again, as it has been window, connector. Those have been the pathways for tabseN to get those opening picks.
What? Wait, who got dinked?
Wait, how? Where has tabseN been dinked down?
Where did Xantares? Didn't Xantares get dinked?
Yeah, he's
I think
taken
Xantares
down
got dinked through a wall in Palace. Probably.
Well,
that's the only thing that makes sense.
Bit of tag damage.
Well,
So this is the thing with FaZe's setups, is that they'll give you mid control pretty consistently, but it's all about how you make use of it, because they're not shy of going for more aggressive phases towards A ramp. We've seen some solid positionings as well from players like Kjaerbye and Cold over at B. How do they orchestrate and bring this pincer together? Because they've been losing in typical trade battles. It has relied on the clean entry from tabseN in the past couple rounds.
Nico's waiting for the push to come through. So far, tabseN's been clean, like you mentioned, but Rain has been soiled. He's got blood on his shoulders, and now his head is off of it as well. Nico does take away tabseN's life, and Tizian, who's coming in from behind, will be making this much more difficult for Kjaerbye. Kjaerbye could be caught out, but Kjaerbye is doing the catching out himself. Keto to find one, keeps things in the favor of Big Clan. And with the Molotov being extinguished, they know where Nico is. They know where Kjaerbye is. This should not be a round where FaZe Clan can do anything more than save. And even that is a tall order. Nico and Kjaerbye backing off. And, well, I'll say it's a tall order. Turns out it's kind of short, actually. It said it was 6 foot tall on its Tinder profile. Turns out it's 5'8". Damn it, Tinder.
Yeah, I'm 5'11", but on Tinder I'm 6 foot.
Oh, man. You're 6 foot. You're 6 foot in Counter-Strike. That's all that matters. But at least so is everyone else. So
yeah, how can I feel tall if everybody's the same height as me, huh?
You're as tall as Michael Jordan.
No, never. As an ex-basketball player, I wish I got an extra couple inches, but I mean, you know, we don't always get blessed with the same genes.
Well, listen. Right now, it's not about genes. Right now, it's about mid control being exploited by Big Clan, and FaZe, on the other hand, they are the ones being exploited.
Yeah, either team would buy for a couple more inches in this game. Neither have been able to separate from each other in any significant fashion outside of when we entered this half. And it's a change. Look at this. Late flash in for FaZe. They look to challenge things in through middle, and tabseN's gone early. Kjaerbye smoke deployed over at B as he's the sole defender. He's anchoring the sights. They spam him, but he spams right back for a kill, and he's been able to escape momentarily, but Xantares does trade him out eventually. He's found a secondary frag, but Brokey, the rotation is good. The AWP is striking true, and a 2-on-1 that syrsoN brings to just one. He knows, he has an inkling of where he's coming from, but he gets caught with the nade out. Cold doesn't hit the shot though. syrsoN given a chance, and there it is. syrsoN brings it back for Big. They get to 15 first.
And this is where that one round where you're thinking, yeah, FaZe have to save, and they go back down to 2 guns. Well, it could come back and bite you. Kjaerbye, fantastic job over towards the van position, but it all comes down to syrsoN, who makes it work in the 1v2, finds the first and Cold. I mean, he even needed to push forward and find the kill early on. He didn't have bullets, and speaking of bullets, that's one right in the skull. Nico to fall. tabseN's been getting the best of him all game long, and that will not change anytime soon. 5 versus 4, and FaZe Clan with their backs against the walls.
Working from a man down to keep this ship afloat. Otherwise, it goes to an overtime. Or FaZe will want it to go to the overtime. Keto given an opportunity to make things even more dire here for the CT side. FaZe, good flash for Rain. He does equalize the affair, going for even more, and that's maybe a bit of an overstep. Still going 1 for 1 for 1, but that man advantage from Big at the start is that narrow edge. Kjaerbye equalizing frag, and that's big from Kjaerbye. Xantares, a 1-on-2. It was syrsoN last time to bring them to this point. Can Xantares deliver in that same fashion? Kjaerbye says No, he denies them on the cross. He holds it with the Org, and that is perfect there from Faze. That's exactly what they need. We're going to an overtime, but we're going to take a short break before we get there.
Time is the best time, but realistically, when it's Big versus Faze, it's overtime that is all that matters, and we are into it. Faze Clan starting things off with a single AWP. Let's not forget, this is, of course, 10K. This is Valve rules. This is not 16K like most of the tournament circuit is, so it's a slightly different dynamic going on over here. Nico, though, is looking to change things up, but it doesn't really work out. 2 kills going the way of Big early on, and as a flashbang flies through as well, it's a fast-paced round, and it's a fast little W for the Big Clan.
Yeah, they get the overtime running early here for Big. Shutting down the mid play from Faze, and then just collapsing on the site. Couldn't get anything going. Rain, the only kill that they found. That was on Tabson. He'll be gifted another. Oh, even going for the knife. Okay.
That actually matters a lot, to be honest.
It does.
When you consider 10K, money's a huge deal in 10K.
He could be the one to buy up the AWP for Berkey.
Yep.
And have a bit of change.
Oh. Well, still could do it.
You know, nice
Actually,
little BM. I like the knife, even in spite of the money situation.
Hey. I don't think anyone in Counter-Strike has ever complained about a knife except for Simple when he failed to kill Nitro and Dust.
I don't know. That config was still kind of...
Well, config knives aside, it's 16-15, and Big have just gotten a very fast-paced round. The question is, can they do the same all over again?
Yeah, this time a bit more of a traditional setup here for Faze. 3 over towards A, 2 towards B. It's what we've been seeing all game long. We've had a bit of variance. Nico and Brokey have been taking turns clearing middle. A far more passive approach. They're allowing Big that space to operate. And this duel towards Palace could really dictate how this round plays out. Come on, just a step towards the right or the left if you're...
I believe in you.
Raynor Antares. This is making me nervous. We're so committed to this duel. Do not turn away. Oh, Zantares is backing away. He doesn't want it.
Don't be a flirt, guys. Don't be a flirt. Take it like a man, and that's what he does. Takes us right to the head. It goes down, and with it, it's 5v3. And, well, Nico's about to get some players delivered right into him, and he's more than happy to accept their graciousness, get some beautiful shots in, is looking for a gun, and as he is searching, he will not be able to find one until it's too late. Is it too late, though? Nico still gets it done, and Kirby's been given a chance, but unfortunately, that chance is not going to matter when Towson's still alive. What a random Nico. 3 great kills. In a very awkward position as well, but at the end of the day, it's not enough. Big take themselves to 17.
Yeah, Big, when they've been finding these openings, have been doing a good job of sealing out the rounds. This was a great effort from Nico. The second shot, and then he tried to get the other gun, tried to make sure he didn't have to reload, but he just still commits to it, tapping away. The tapping accuracy for Nico is certainly something to marvel at. We see it so rarely.
Yeah. Especially with the M4A4.
Absolutely.
On the best of tippity top guns. But hey, Big are still hoping to take this one through cleanly. There's only 3 rifles on Faze Clan. Keto's being tagged up by one of them already. Man, I miss old school overtime. CTs have to make a big play to take this one away. And Faze are definitely up to the task, but Big will be making as many attempts as they want before Faze really have a firepower advantage.
Yeah, something they haven't explored too much is Rain getting aggro towards A ramp, and I feel like if they go for that, they'll fall into the trap almost for Big, as there's more emphasis put that direction. Rain pressured over towards ramp, but he's close, and Keto finds the double kill he needs to. They're going for knives! What is that? Brokey able to get away with 2 kills as a result of that, gets his hands on the AK as well. And Tizian just sitting in the smoke, waiting for his time, but his time may soon be up. Brokey gets 4. No. Okay, what is the choice there? Why have they swung out, knife out into Brokey?
Guys, I think we need to have a talk about it. The knife was fun the first time over. Then Michael had to go and say, yeah, you always like a bit of a knife, don't you? And
yeah, I mean, that's not one that I like.
Man. And with that, Big literally threw away their golden opportunity for an 18-15. Brokey should not have been able to get 2 kills there. That's a completely different round if they don't go for that. So you're starting to wonder, is the Big camp? Oh no! Big boy nades right there, and a kill with it. The great start to things. Rain is trying to spray through, but he's just revealed his position, and Surson is happy to take more than what he was given. Kirby plus Colzera now the remaining 2, the B-side duo from CT. Can they do it on T? Pretty unlikely, realistically.
Yeah, it's taken a long time to get there, but Big seem a lot more comfortable now in the overtime, strangely enough. Usually it's the other way around. Tabson limiting the chances here for Faze even further. A cold 1 versus 4. An ace clutch not looking likely. Still a whole lot of time to play with, though.
This is just early reads coming up from Big. The way they are intercepting Faze Clan, it's beautiful stuff in overtime. I really like to see it. And I think this is also where you start to wonder, what is the 5th gear of Faze? Because it seems like, even in regulation, they are consistently running on that 5th gear to get to where they need to. Now, it is going to be Colzera's demise at the end of the day. Never was much of a doubt about it, but Big are now, they have 2 map points. And Surson, look at that kill coming in the beginning, and that secondary shot to follow through onto the Rain kill. Nico's just been getting crushed, honestly, this entire game. Nico's been crushed. He's 17 and 27 right now. It is a very difficult spot for him.
It's not even been in the fragging department primarily, right? He's still hovering around the same numbers as his teammates, but he's been dying consistently throughout this game. Big even go for their own close ramp play. Tizzy and Keto contact off one another. The good old bait and switch, and Faze are posturing up for what looks like an A-sided execute. It's going to be a late split, and they may fall victim to this. Keto, after he rings off that shot, do they clear that close angle? That's where all the meat lies. And actually, Nico goes out swinging. Keto unable to hold the cross because they dropped the other side of it, but they still come out in a numbers advantage. Keto spraying rapidly with the deagle. They're falling apart here on the Faze side. It's just Rain and Brokey left. 2 versus 4, and Brokey's fallen victim through the smoke. Rain, oh, that is sharp stuff, but it's not gonna be enough. Big close it out in the overtime and take the first map in the series.
I'd like to say I predicted it, but honestly, the second it got to, the T side, I had lost all faith in Big.